There are families that never lay a hand on you, never scream, they just close the door and call it teaching you to grow up. The rain fell like powder that night in Seattle, my 26th birthday, and I stood on the sidewalk staring at the house I'd called home for most of my life. Everything I owned sat stuffed into cardboard boxes, already bleeding water from their corners. I am a woman who used to believe family was the safest place in the world. I wasn't an addict. I wasn't lazy. I hadn't done anything wrong. The only thing I lacked was value in their eyes. And that was enough for them to decide I had to go. My mother's face appeared in the crack of the door, backlit by the warm yellow light of the living room. Her expression held no anger, no regret, just a flatness that made my stomach drop. "You're 26 now," she said, her voice ice wrapped in silk. "It's time to stop clinging to our sacrifices." My throat closed. Not from tears, I was past crying, from the sheer absurdity of hearing those words spoken as if they were wisdom instead of cruelty. "Mom, Jenna needs your room for her studio. She's building something real. Something with a future." The door shut. I heard the deadbolt slide into place. A new deadbolt. They'd changed the locks while I was at work. I looked down at the boxes. My childhood stuffed rabbit poked out from beneath a rain-soaked towel. The spine of my college statistics textbook bent under the weight of wet cardboard. The door closed. My heart didn't break. It calcified. For the first time, I understood. Family isn't blood. Family is a contract. And they just canceled mine without notice. I didn't call friends. I didn't beg anyone for a couch to sleep on. Instead, I wheeled those boxes 6 blocks to the Seattle Community Library and asked the night supervisor if I could work the graveyard shift in exchange for a quiet corner to sleep in during my breaks. She looked at me for a long time. Then she handed me a set of keys. "Storage room in the basement. There's a cot. Don't let anyone see you." So I became a ghost. I worked trash collection routes during the day, smelling like garbage and shame. At night, I mopped library floors and shelved returns, then collapsed on that cot surrounded by boxes of outdated encyclopedias. My bed smelled like mildew and old paper. My pillow was a rolled-up jacket, but it was mine. No one could take it away. 3 weeks in, I tried to apply for a credit card to buy a used laptop. The application came back denied. Not just denied, flagged. I pulled my credit report at a public computer terminal. My hands started shaking before I reached the second page. $17,000 in debt. 3 maxed-out credit cards I'd never opened. A personal loan for camera equipment I'd never purchased. All in my name. All signed with my information. All taken out over the past 2 years while I was still living at home, trusting them, believing we were family. They'd stolen my identity to fund Jenna's YouTube dreams. I sat in that flickering fluorescent library light, staring at the screen, and something inside me went very, very quiet. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I opened a new browser tab and searched, "How to dispute identity theft," "Statute of limitations fraud," "How to learn programming free online." Because I understood something in that moment. I wasn't going to sue them, not yet. Not until I could do it from a position they couldn't touch, couldn't diminish, couldn't explain away as the bitterness of a failure. I was going to build an empire, and then I was going to take everything. I bought a refurbished laptop with money I made selling plasma twice a week. The needle bruises on my arms became my silent badges of war. Every night after my shift, I sat in that basement surrounded by books no one read anymore and taught myself Python, then JavaScript, then cybersecurity protocols and financial encryption algorithms. Each line of code I wrote was a promise. Someday, I won't need them. Someday, they won't be able to touch me. I lived on ramen and library vending machine coffee for 8 months. I showered in the staff bathroom. I wore the same 3 outfits in rotation until the seams started to fray. But I kept coding. Monica found me at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday in March. I was hunched over my laptop at a study desk, scribbling algorithms on the back of old receipt paper because I couldn't afford a notebook. My hair was in a greasy bun. I probably smelled like sweat and desperation. She materialized beside me like an apparition. A 60-something black woman in an expensive wool coat, carrying a leather briefcase that cost more than I'd earned all year. "That's a fairly elegant solution to a triple encryption problem," she said, nodding at my scribbled notes. Except you've got a logic error in the third nested loop. I looked up, startled. I. What? She pulled out a pen, a real fountain pen, and corrected my code on the receipt paper. Her handwriting was immaculate. Monica Liu, I run a financial security consulting firm. I come here when I can't sleep because my office feels like a cage. She tilted her head. Why are you here at 2 a.m. writing code on garbage? I could have lied. I could have said I was a student pulling an all-nighter. Instead, I told her the truth. All of it. The boxes, the stolen identity, the basement cot, the bruises from selling plasma. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I'll offer you an unpaid internship. You'll work insane hours for no money, but I'll teach you everything I know about protecting assets, reading cash flow, and making sure emotion never blinds your decisions. Why would you do that? Her smile was sharp as a scalpel. Because I see myself in you, and because brilliant, angry women with nothing to lose built every empire worth mentioning. I worked for Monica for 3 years. During the day, I learned how to audit financial records, trace hidden assets, and build unhackable security systems. During the night, I coded. Monica didn't just teach me business, she taught me armor. Never let them see you coming, she'd say, reviewing my work over coffee that cost $12 a cup. Never signal your strength until you're ready to strike. I learned to dress well on a thrift store budget. I learned to speak in boardrooms without apologizing. I learned that power isn't loud, it's quiet, meticulous, and patient. After 2 years, Monica and I co-founded a financial security app designed to help people protect themselves from identity theft and fraud. We called it Shield Key. The app exploded. Within 18 months, we had 2 million users. I became wealthy. Not comfortable, wealthy. But I stayed invisible. No social media presence, no interviews, no photographs. I paid for premium privacy services to scrub my digital footprint clean. I wanted my family to forget I existed, so that when I was ready, they'd never see me coming. The call came on a Thursday afternoon in October. I was in my downtown office. Glass walls, city views, the kind of space that used to exist only in my fantasies, when my assistant buzzed me. There's a Jenna Hartley here to see you. She says she's your sister. My coffee cup paused halfway to my lips. My pulse didn't quicken. 3 years of Monica's training had taught me that. Send her in. Jenna walked into my office looking exactly like her Instagram feed. Perfect blown-out hair, designer athleisure, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She stopped when she saw me behind the desk. Oh my God, she breathed. It really is you. I didn't stand. I didn't smile. Hello, Jenna. She laughed. That nervous, performative laugh she used in her vlogs. I saw you in a tech industry newsletter. I couldn't believe it. Mom and Dad are going to flip when I tell them. Are they? Yeah, I mean, we've been worried about you. You just disappeared. We tried to find you, but I didn't want to be found. She blinked. The smile wavered. I leaned back in my chair. How's the YouTube channel? Oh, it's good. I mean, it's been tough lately with the algorithm changes. But how many subscribers? 32,000, which is actually... And the studio, the one you got my room for, still using it? Her face flushed. Look, I know that was hard for you, but Mom and Dad really believed it was the right thing. For both of us. You needed to learn independence, and I needed space to grow my platform. The rage I expected didn't come. Instead, I felt nothing. A vast, echoing nothing. Tell them I'd like to see them, I said quietly. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., here. Really? Her face lit up. That's amazing. I knew you'd come around. Family is everything, right? I smiled. It didn't reach my eyes either. Right. They arrived together the next morning. Mom, Dad, and Jenna, all dressed like they were attending a business pitch. Mom wore the pearl necklace Dad bought her for their anniversary. Dad wore his church suit. Jenna had her phone out, probably filming content. I met them in the conference room, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay, imported tea service on the table, every detail calculated. Mom hugged me. I let her. Her perfume was the same, lavender and lies. Sweetie, we're so proud of you, she said, tears in her eyes. We always knew you'd find your way. Did you? Of course. You know what we did that night? Asking you to leave. It was so hard for us. But we knew you needed that push, that motivation. And look at you now. Dad nodded. Sometimes tough love is the greatest gift a parent can give. I poured tea. My hands were steady. I've thought a lot about that night, I said, about what you taught me. See? Mom squeezed my hand. You understand now? I do. I set down the teapot. You taught me that family is transactional, that love has conditions, that people will use you until you have nothing left to give, and then discard you like trash. The room went cold. Honey, that's not. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, you'll find documentation of 17 counts of identity fraud, credit cards opened in my name, loans taken using my social security number, a detailed record of every fraudulent charge made over a 5-year period. Dad's face went gray. Now wait, you stole from me. You destroyed my credit. You used my identity to fund Jenna's hobby while I slept on a cot in a basement. Jenna's phone clattered to the table. I didn't know, she whispered. Didn't you? I looked at her. You needed $10,000 in equipment. I was making minimum wage. Where did you think the money came from? Silence. Mom found her voice first. We were going to pay it back. We were going to fix everything once Jenna's channel took off. Were you? I opened a second folder. These are the debt collection notices, the letters from creditors threatening to sue me, the job applications I was rejected from because my credit was ruined. I stood, walked to the window. The city spread out below like a kingdom. Here's what's going to happen. I've spent the last 6 months quietly purchasing every debt you owe. Your mortgage, your car loans, your credit card balances, all of it. Dad shot to his feet. You can't? I can. I did. I turned to face them. The house, my childhood home, the one you threw me out of with garbage bags and cardboard boxes, is now in my name. You've been paying me rent for the last 3 months without knowing it. Mom's teacup rattled in its saucer. I'm giving you 24 hours to pack your belongings and vacate the property. You can use the same cardboard boxes. I kept them. They're in the garage. You can't throw us out, Mom's voice cracked. We're your family. No. I picked up my own tea, sipped it. Let the silence stretch. You told me I wasn't family 3 years ago, on my birthday, in the rain. So now I'm simply agreeing with you. Jenna started crying. Real tears this time, not the pretty ones she used in sponsor apology videos. Please, she said. I'm sorry, I was selfish and stupid, and I'm sorry, don't punish Mom and Dad because of me. I'm not punishing anyone, Jenna. I'm simply exercising my property rights. The same way they exercise theirs. Dad's face was purple. You vindictive little... Careful. Monica's voice came from the doorway. She'd been watching the whole time. Everything in this room is being recorded. Any threats or harassment will be documented and used in legal proceedings. She walked in, immaculate as always, stood beside me. Your daughter offered you multiple opportunities to acknowledge the harm you caused, to apologize, to make amends. You chose instead to rewrite history and demand gratitude for abuse. Monica's smile was ice. So now you get to experience consequences. Novel concept, I know. They left, eventually. After threats and tears and pleading, I watched from my office window as they stumbled to their car in the parking garage. Mom leaned on Dad. Jenna walked behind them, her phone clutched like a lifeline. Probably already crafting the victim narrative she'd post online. Monica brought me a fresh cup of tea. How do you feel? Empty, I said honestly. I thought I'd feel triumphant or satisfied, but I just feel hollow. That's because revenge, even justified revenge, doesn't fill the hole they left. It just stops them from making it bigger. I nodded. Watched the rain start to fall on the city below. What will you do with the house? I'd been thinking about that for months. I pulled out my phone and showed her the documents I'd already drafted. I'm turning it into a shelter and scholarship fund. For young people who've been kicked out by their families, they'll have a place to stay, resources to continue their education, and counseling to process the trauma. Monica read through the plans. Her smile was genuine this time. You're not punishing them. You're making sure what happened to you never happens to anyone else. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the best revenge isn't making them suffer. It's making sure their cruelty dies with them. 3 months later, I stood on the porch of my childhood home. Our home. The home that belonged now to scared kids with garbage bags and broken hearts. I'd hired renovators to strip out Jenna's studio equipment and turn it back into a bedroom. The walls were painted warm yellow. The bed had clean white sheets and a heavy comforter. The desk held school supplies and a new laptop. A 17-year-old trans kid named Marcus was moving in that afternoon. His parents had thrown him out on Christmas Eve. He'd been sleeping in his car. I showed him the room, watched his face as he took in the space, the safety, the possibility. "You're sure?" he kept asking. "This is really okay." "It's really okay. Stay as long as you need, study hard, build something beautiful." He cried. I hugged him, told him he was going to be fine, because he was, because I'd survived, and that meant he could too. My parents tried to sue me. The case was dismissed. Identity fraud victims can't be held liable for refusing to house their abusers. Jenna's channel crashed after someone leaked the story of how she'd built her platform on stolen credit. Her sponsors dropped her. Her followers evaporated. Last I heard, she was working retail and had deleted all her social media. I felt nothing about that. Not pleasure, not pain, just the quiet satisfaction of a closed chapter. Mom sent me a letter 6 months after the eviction. It was 7 pages long, handwritten on floral stationery. She said she'd been thinking that maybe they'd made mistakes, that pride and fear had blinded them to how much they'd hurt me. She said she understood if I never wanted to see them again, but if I ever did, they'd be waiting. She signed it. "Your mother, who never stopped loving you, even when she forgot how to show it." I read the letter 3 times, then I put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd be ready to answer it. Maybe I wouldn't. But it would be my choice. On my terms, when I was ready. Not when they needed me, when I was ready. I'm 32 now. Shield Key is valued at $50 million. We've helped 300,000 people protect themselves from financial fraud. I bought a penthouse in downtown Seattle with windows that frame the whole city. On clear nights, I can see the lights of the neighborhood where I used to live. Sometimes I stand at those windows with a glass of wine and think about that girl in the rain. The one with cardboard boxes and broken trust. The one who thought she'd been thrown away. I'm not her anymore. I'm the woman who turned survival into strategy. Who learned that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's boundaries. Who discovered that the sweetest revenge isn't making them suffer, it's making them irrelevant. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. "Got accepted to UW Computer Science program. Full ride. Thank you for everything." I smile. Text back. "You earned it. Proud of you." This is the empire I built. Not in spite of what they did to me, but because of it. Because they taught me what I didn't want to become. What I refused to let happen to anyone else. The rain starts to fall on the city below, gentle as powder. I used to hate the rain. It reminded me of that night. The boxes, the locked door. Now I love it. Because rain washes things clean, helps new things grow, and I am growing. Every day. Into someone those people wouldn't recognize. Someone stronger, wiser, freer. The door closed behind me 6 years ago, but I'm the one holding the keys now. And I get to decide who comes in.